I honestly can't explain it. I really can't. It's just really disappointing when our team, should last 3 outs of the game. All I needed to do was get 3 outs, and I just continue to let the team down. Huge trial in my life right now, and it's obviously career-wise, but I've always found a way to get out of it, just waiting for that time to come. Just going to continue to work. That's all I can do. It's not a lack of work ethic or preparation. It's just a lack of effectiveness out there right now.
Well, you heard the heartbreak and the frustration in Steve Cishek's voice. He's hoping for a nice Hollywood script comeback, but for the Marlins, the reality, they have lost 3 late leads on this road trip, including the last 2 games in a row. They'll try to bounce back tonight. Game 2, Marlins and Dodgers in beautiful Dodger Stadium. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. If you watched the game last night or just watched that last quote from Steve Cishek, you know the emotions that go into losing these ball games. Tommy, how does the ball club get past this?
Well, I tell you what, Rich, try to tell Steve Cishek right now that it's just a game. It's a job for these guys. He's at the lowest point he's ever been. He said that. The emotions for the team, you have to put it aside. You can't say to yourself, we could be 6-2 instead of 3-5 on this trip. You have to press forward. It's a long season, and hopefully things will get ironed out.
Now, analytically, in watching Cishek, location, is it that simple?
Well, I think the main thing is a mechanical issue, but then by the failure, it also causes a mental issue. A lot of mistakes. If he's flying open, he's going to have to tighten up the delivery. And I think if he does that, we'll see velocity increase and we'll see location get better. But the next question is, when will he be able to work on those things in a game? He's going to be able to do it in the bullpen. He's not going to be the closer for a while. But at what point does Mike Redmond find an opportunity to put him in the game?
Yeah, in a lower leverage spot, closer by committee for now. The funny thing about this whole 2-week span, starting pitching's not been an issue for the Marlins. They got a Tom Kohler start, which was very good last night, and their ace so far was a Dodger last year, Dan Haren.
Hey, Dan Haren has always pitched well here. He said he likes pitching at Dodger Stadium. He was 13-11 last year as a Dodger. He's gotten off to a great start. He's 4-1 with a nice 2.61 ERA. He's been able to let his defense do the work for him as well.
And so Haren gets the start against the Dodgers. He said his favorite places to pitch, San Francisco and Los Angeles. He was lights out in San Francisco.
Yeah, he was. So he's getting ready. He's a little different bullpen for him, but he's warmed up in that bullpen before coming in as a visitor. The Marlins will see a right-hander the Dodgers just brought up, Mike Bolsinger. Oddly enough, his last time out in the minor leagues was against New Orleans, the Marlins AAA team.
Go figure. And, by the way, it's Tuesday, kids. It's late night with the fish. We got tweets. We got emails. And how about Christian Yelich, who played the hero for a brief moment last night? Dodger Stadium ready to go. Marlins and Dodgers game 2. Mike Bolsinger, University of Arkansas product, delivers a strike. Pitch Penny brings you the first pitch, and we are underway. D. Gordon, Martin Prado, Giancarlo Stanton scheduled for Miami on this gorgeous Tuesday night in Los Angeles. Gordon shortens the bunt, drops it down. It's a good one. Picked up there. Guerrero's throw. He's out. Gordon called out. That might be one the Marlins look at in replay. Right out of the chute, David Rackley, the first base umpire. Gordon's not budging from first base.
And notice the third baseman is Alex Guerrero, not Justin Turner. Guerrero getting the start tonight. That's a really nice play for a guy. They're not sure where his best position is, but Guerrero with a strong arm, and that is very, very close.
Well, it looks like the Marlins will not challenge it. So Gordon is out. There are perils to challenging, and remember the Marlins in that series against the Mets. The Mets lost 2 first-inning challenges, and they did not have a challenge the rest of the ball game. Prado takes a strike, and maybe that weighs into the decision on whether to challenge or not. If you don't have decisive evidence, that's a real gamble.
Yeah, and I think first batter of the game, it's a situation, you know, you're more apt to challenge if it's involved in an inning where you may score some runs. You don't know. So, yeah, I think that weighs into it.
Mike Bolsinger, emergency starter. And there have been a lot of Dodgers that have had that title.
Yeah, it's ironic. The Dodgers right now would love to have Dan Haren back with all his starts, all his innings. But Bolsinger, oddly enough, his last start was May 6th against New Orleans, the Marlins AAA affiliate.
Big breaking ball, and he strikes out Martin Prado. Miami's lineup looks this way. You've seen D. Gordon and Martin Prado. Jam Lexus presents it to you. Giancarlo Stanton is in right. Marcell Ozuna, who homered last night in center. Christian Yelich homered as well. Michael Morse is at first base. 3 hits last night for Morse. JT Realmuto had 2 hits, was 2 for 3. Adeiny Echeverria in the 8th spot. And Dan Haren hits 9th, and Giancarlo Stanton swings and misses at the first pitch. Stanton drives it left field, absolutely crushed and out of Dodger Stadium.
You don't see that every night. Frank Howard, Willie Stargell, Mark McGwire, that's about it.
My goodness. Even the fans here at Dodger Stadium are giving Stanton an ovation. Absolutely crushed over the pavilion, and it's 1-0.
Oh, my.
The fans at the top of the bleachers are turning around and looking out, trying to find that baseball.
They're used to getting souvenirs out there. Fastball middle in, absolutely crushed.
Here's Ozuna. He takes a breaking ball for a strike. Here's a look at the exit route. Just off the back of the roof. Ozuna hits a high fly ball. Andre Ethier is there, and he makes the catch. This large crowd here on Clayton Kershaw bobblehead night still kind of stunned. Giancarlo Stanton with a mammoth blast in the ballpark he grew up coming to. Stanton leaves it in the first inning. with 9 strikeouts. And with one swing, all of a sudden his whole body language, everything has changed. Jam Lexus brings you the Dodgers lineup. Rookie Jock Peterson's in center. Jimmy Rollins at short. Howie Kendrick at second base. Adrian Gonzalez is red hot at first. Alex Guerrero is at third base. Yasmani Grandal, the catcher. Andre Ethier is in right. Scott Van Slyke, a hero last night, is in the 8th spot. And Mike Bolsinger hits 9th. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dan Haren to the telecast.
Who goes out there with a 1-run. That should be worth 2.
First pitch swing. Peterson rips it into right field. Jock Peterson, who was 1 for 3 with an RBI last night, as a hit here.
Yeah, here's a look at the defense for the Marlins tonight. There's that outfield of Yelich, Ozuna, and Stanton. Prado, Echeverria, D. Gordon, Michael Morris, JT Real Muto. Just the 11 errors on the year. Continues to play solid outfield and infield defense.
Jimmy Rollins now with Howie Kendrick right behind him. And Haren at 86 miles an hour gets a strike. Certainly Rollins and Haren know each other. Jimmy's 15th year, actually 16th year in the big leagues.
Yeah, Jimmy's 6 for 24 in his career against Dan Haren.
Lifted in the air. Prado over, and he makes the catch. Peterson hangs out at first. Rollins is out number 1. And here comes Kendrick.
The early returns, Rich, are 478 feet. And there was one more name I didn't have time to throw in, I think, and I'm not positive. We're trying to find all the names. I believe Mike Piazza also left Dodger Stadium completely.
Kendrick takes outside. Here's a look. Watch Scott Van Slyke in this.
See, some pitchers will say, hey, at least give it a courtesy couple of steps.
Peterson has speed at first, and Haren to the plate. Bouncer off of Haren. It kicks over to Prado, and Haren right now is hurt. He kind of reached back with his glove, and we'll see exactly what it hit. He tried to get a piece of it, and in return it got a piece of him.
You know, we've seen Dan Haren, who's is such a professional out there, a few times let a ball like that go. He looked like he tried to make the backhand grab, might have caught him on the back of the wrist. If the ball goes through, there's a good chance it's a double play, but he doesn't know that for sure. Let's just hope he's okay.
And so Haren is flexing the left hand, the glove hand.
Yeah, as he tried to put the glove on the backhand, yeah, it looks like Marlins athletic trainer Mike Kozak looking at that wrist area.
Were at the right wrist, there would be, I mean, there's concern certainly, but his chances of continuing are a lot better since the ball hit the left wrist. And so Haren will take a few tosses. Chuck Hernandez and Mike Redmond are out there.
Yeah, so many times last night we saw D. Gordon smash one up the middle, and it didn't carry him too far away, and an out was recorded. Kendrick's ball just went far enough away that he ends up getting the infield base hit. Runners are first and second.
Should we throw out the first tweet or email? I've got one.
Go ahead.
All right, Ricardo tweets, who will take over the closer role?
Well, obviously that's been the biggest topic of discussion here today, and from what Mike Redmond's talked about, it's going to be a little bit of a committee, but I would imagine if push comes to shove, we'll see A.J. Ramos out of there first, and so much of it is going to depend on the situation in a ball game. But we'll go out and say A.J. Ramos would probably be the first choice, and we'll have to see.
Adrian Gonzalez now. As impressive as the home run was for Giancarlo Stanton, all of a sudden the Dodgers have a threat, and they've got one of the hottest hitters on the planet up. And Gonzalez tries to go out of the zone, fouls it back. Adrian Gonzalez, among National League leaders, he is second in hits to D. Gordon, second in batting average to D. Gordon, leads in slugging percentage at a whopping .720. 14 doubles, that's tied for first. 9 home runs, that's tied for third. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, it's amazing. And 9 home runs, but he hit 5 his first 3 games. That's how his season started.
Extra base hit leader. Oh, 0-2 pitch is in. If you're just happening by, Giancarlo Stanton just hit a ball out of Dodger Stadium over the pavilion in left field. Actually banged off the back of the pavilion roof on its way down and scooted out to the parking lot. Slow roller, Gordon, little hesitation there. Echeverria does a nice job to hold the ball and avoid having that thing get into left field. Miami will have to settle for the 1 out at second. And the Dodgers inning is still alive, and here comes the young Cuban Alex Guerrero.
Third baseman, number 7.
Had a little trouble, little fumble getting it out of the glove, and it almost was disastrous for Echeverria. But Echeverria hung in there, hung on to the ball. He looked at third, even though there was nobody over there at third for him to throw to. But he just wanted to make sure Peterson didn't move off the bag too far.
So here is Guerrero. Watch the slide and watch Kendrick's arm here on the slide. He went after the glove of Echeverria. That's really close to
being an automatic double play.
Yes. As it is, Etch held the ball, and Haren goes to work on Guerrero.
Mark McGwire, Mike Piazza, Willie Stargell twice. Those are the men who have hit balls out of Dodger Stadium. You can add Giancarlo Stanton to that list. And I actually remember the one that Willie Stargell hit. It was 1969. I had been called up to the Dodgers, and he hit it off Alan Foster, my roommate. A hanging slider.
Did Foster take pride in that? There's McGwire, now the Dodger hitting coach.
Stargell's was estimated 506 feet.
If this is just a spot start for Mike Bolsinger, and when he does get sent down, I would expect the first thing everyone's going to want to talk about was not how did you pitch,
absolutely,
but the Stanton homer. Guerrero takes a strike, and the count full at 3-2.
Yeah, guys will say, what did he hit? Where was it? He'll say, where was it? It was in the parking lot.
That one was right at the knees. Great location by Haren. Tries to pitch out of this inning. Gets a ground ball wide of third by Lorenzo Bundy, third base coach for the Dodgers. Guerrero, 27 years old, 7 years in the Cuban League, and he just had great numbers. Was a very good player for the Cuban national team as well in the World Baseball Classic and other international tournaments. And he hits that one to left field, but the ballpark will hold it. And Yelich at the warning track will make the catch. 1-0. Nice escape job by Dan Haren. Middle. Emails and tweets. Now you can get us on Twitter or Instagram at Fox Marlins. Email us, foxmarlins@gmail.com. We have questions. Domingo in Doral. When is Henderson Alvarez due back? It seems like he's been on the DL forever. Not really, but he is, if not soon, at least one start away.
Yeah, you see his numbers. Very good outing. The thought behind his outing today is that they would like to get him 90 pitches, maybe one more outing at the AA or AAA level. So good news for Henderson, the way he threw the ball today for Jupiter.
Christian Yelich now. For Yelich last night, didn't start out that well. He was 0 for 2. And it was a Yelich error in the 7th inning that put the go-ahead run in scoring position, and that run scored. Yelich himself said he felt the reason the Marlins were down a run when he came to the plate in the 9th was because of him. It wasn't all because of him. And of course, Yelich, who had singled in his 7th inning at bat, cracked a 2-run homer to left, give the Marlins a short-lived 3-2 lead. Yelich drives it down the left field line, and it peels foul and into the seats. And of course, Scott Van Slyke would come up and hit a 3-run homer to walk off for the Dodgers.
What an up and down crazy night for Van Slyke as well. Remember, he pulled up on that double play and was a little late getting to the plate.
Yelich walks. A leadoff walk. Mike Bolsinger.
We had to do a little work, Rich, to get a scouting report on Mike Bolsinger, but seen the fastball, it sinks a little bit. He'll use cutter and slider. He generally, in his minor league career, he's been a guy who gives you a lot of strikes. He was actually drafted by the Indians in the 34th round out of high school, but then, as you mentioned, went on to the University of Arkansas.
Yelich at first, and here is Michael Morse. Both Yelich and Morse impressive last night. Morse knocked 3 balls into right field for base hits.
That's the perfect setup for Michael Morse with a runner at first base, too.
Frank Menachino, Marlins hitting coach, talking about Morse and just how much more relaxed he was, and maybe it was getting those 2 hits on that first night in San Francisco.
I think it was getting the ring.
Maybe. But when he's relaxed, Morse is a guy, as we know, that has that power and can hit the ball to right center field when he's not trying to do too much, and he looked relaxed last night.
Rich, there's something to that. Pablo Sandoval got his ring yesterday and hit a game-winning home run the 11th inning.
In the Bay Area, but over in Oakland.
Yeah.
Counts 2-1 to Morse. JT Realmuto also scheduled in this. Top of the 2nd. Morse fouls it back. Dodgers defensively tonight.
Yeah, there it is. The outfield sets up the way it did last night with Van Slyke, Peterson, and Ethier. The change is at third base. Alex Guerrero, Jimmy Rollins, Howard Kendrick up the middle, Adrian Gonzalez, and Yasmani Grandal behind the plate.
Yelich back to the bag. Grandal last night threw out D. Gordon trying to steal. Yelich is back. Yelich runs, pitches up, throw to second, and he's out. Howie Kendrick with the tag, and the Marlins running game right now is kind of stuck in the mud.
The Marlins have not had good success in stealing bases. It's a combination. Catchers have made good throws. Maybe the jumps aren't the way you'd like. But the Marlins have 23 stolen bases, but they've been caught 13 times.
Morse fouls that one back. For Yelich, that's only the first time he's been caught this year. He's 3 for 4 in his lower back injury, and his stint on the DL certainly curtailed some of his running.
I thought he had a shot because it was a slow breaking ball, but you give Grandal credit. He made a really nice throw and got rid of it quickly.
And Morse strikes out on a breaking ball and what looked like a promising start. All of a sudden, it's 2 outs and nobody on.
It's a good point that caught stealing can be a real rally killer and really lift the team up. After the leadoff walk, all of a sudden 2 outs, nobody on base.
Now Real Muto. JT last night had a couple of hits and a walk. And the walk may have been his best at bat of the night. That was in the 7th inning. He walked to load the bases. That was against Zach Greinke. Guerrero across the diamond in time to get Real Muto. And the Marlins done here in the 2nd. It's 1-0 Miami. Stanton's mammoth home run. Early estimates at 478 feet out of Dodger Stadium. And Dan Haren back to work. Bends in a breaking ball for a strike. Yasmani Grandal, the former University of Miami Hurricane. Andre Ethier and Scott Van Slyke in the 2nd for the Dodgers. And to right. And Grandal has a hit to lead off the 2nd inning. Got a watch party tomorrow night. It's a Corona Light Marlins watch party. Rivals Waterfront Sports Grill in Hollywood. 7:50 start. You can win tickets to upcoming games, meet Billy and the Energy Team, and enjoy Corona Light specials. Go to Marlins.com for more.
Got a quick tweet from Jack Cecil. Jack says, should the MLB start notifying air traffic control when Big G's coming to the plate?
There is Ethier. 1 for 4 is Ethier, and that's a rocket to right and foul. One thing Dan Haren has been susceptible to this year, that is the long ball. He has given up 6 home runs. The funny thing is he's given up 9 runs 6 homers. All but 1 of the 9 runs have come on a home run.
He stayed away from the long ball in his last outing. His 7 innings in San Francisco gave up just 8 hits and 2 runs.
As you would expect in our emails and tweets, a lot of closer questions. 1-1 pitch, it's fouled back. Chris in Jacksonville, any thoughts on Jonathan Papelbon? Also some questions about Rafael Soriano and his status.
Yeah, those are the 2 names of veteran guys. Of course, Papelbon is active. He's with the Phillies. Soriano is not. He's not pitching for anybody.
Dustin in Fort Pierce wants to know, Tom Kohler, there may be a Marlin starter. Well, there will be a Marlin starter headed back to the bullpen with the arrival of Henderson Alvarez within a week. If it's Kohler, could Kohler close?
I heard that suggestion, and I don't think you could ever rule anything out. I think there are starters over the years we've seen have become closers. John Smoltz, Dennis Eckersley come to mind. So you never know. Putting a guy in a situation that they've never been in, you never know how they're going to react. And who knows? They could have success. Nice job last night by Tom Kohler. Nice comeback after his outing in Washington, D.C.
Let me say this about Tom Kohler. I think being a closer depends on a lot of things. Stuff, execution of stuff, location. But there's also that almost an intangible where, call it guts or call it moxie. Bill Raftery might say onions, but
but you know what we're talking about.
I think Tom Kohler has that.
I totally agree with you.
Into center field, and a base hit by Andre Ethier. And so Dan Haren has started the night in hot water, got out of it in the first inning. He's right back in it here in the second. And last night's hero comes up, Scott Van Slyke. Three for 4 last night. And of course the home run that gave him all 3 of his runs driven in. Hits a ground ball in the hole into left field. Base hit. Yelich picks it up. Holding third is Grandal. And with the pitcher coming up, Dan Haren's got the bags loaded and nobody out.
Well, this ball was hit sharply and charged well by Christian Yelich. There you see third base coach Lorenzo Bundy putting the stop sign on Grandal. Right now the Dodgers are having some pretty good swings against Dan Haren.
Bolsinger. And then you've got top of the order Jock Peterson, Jimmy Rollins. Dan Haren is a guy who relies on location, changing speeds, will pitch to contact. Right now a strikeout would be at the top of his list. Middle infield back for 2. Corners are in. That one is hit to center. Ozuna over there makes the catch. Runner tags. Remember, it's Grandal, and he goes back, and the bullet by Ozuna finds Real Muto right in front of the plate. The Dodger catcher was at third. Grandal started, thought about it, and Ozuna uncorked a good, strong throw.
Well, what a job by Marcell Ozuna to the plate. It turned out to be a good choice by the Dodgers not sending Grandal. He'd have been out. More good defense. It's been a series of defense, especially in the outfield.
Now, if Dan Haren can get a ground ball, he can extract himself again from trouble. But Peterson runs well. He did hit a ground ball, and it got into right field for a hit back in the first. Lifts it in the air and out of play. As night is falling here in Los Angeles. The Marlins lead the Dodgers 1-0. Giancarlo Stanton, a home run for the ages, hitting on the top of the roof, clearing it out of the stadium in left field.
If the distance of 478 is accurate and holds up, it'll be the longest home run hit in the major leagues this year.
And of course, as we've learned with home run distances, the initial distance is usually a little less than the projected distance by either a hit tracker online or a StatCast or whichever service you use. Here's the 1-1.
But I believe earlier this year, one of A-Rod's home runs was 477.
Yeah, that's the 360, and then you go up and 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 up
and over.
Yeah, and out. Here's a 2-1. Foul back, and Haren has worked it even now at 2-2. Nice loud crowd. There was 44,000 here last night. And another big crowd here. 2-2. Got him. 88 miles an hour. Just happens to be his Twitter handle. I throw 88, and he certainly did on this one.
Little movement to it and a big strikeout. All of a sudden, just like that, bases loaded, nobody out. Now bases loaded and 2 out.
And here is Rollins, who has yet to really get going for the Dodgers, though he has pumped 3 home runs out this year. Popped to third back in the first. Bag still loaded. Now there's 2 outs. And Haren gets a strike. It's 0-1.
I was reading the other day about Dan Haren. One of his mound teammates at Pepperdine, we've talked about Dan, who went to Pepperdine, drafted out of Pepperdine by the Cardinals, was a left-hander drafted by the Giants, Noah Lowry.
Pepperdine just up the road in Malibu. And of course, Haren, when he originally decided to go to Pepperdine, it was as a hitter, not as a pitcher. One, 2. And it is down low. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
We've told you how Haren, with his 4-1 record, nice ERA, 2.68, last year with the Dodgers after his first 5 starts, he was 3-0 with a 2.03 ERA.
Rollins to center. Ozuna is there and makes the catch. And Dan Haren gets out of it again. by Toyota. Let's go places like Kaiser University. For more information, go to kaiser.edu. And by AutoNation, save on over 70,000 vehicles now. Visit AutoNation.com. 1-0, Miami on top. One hit, one run for the Fish. That run, a long Giancarlo Stanton homer. Danny Echeverria, Dan Haren, and D. Gordon.
I just thought of how Vince Scully could have called that home run, because one of his well-known phrases, he likes to many times say, to the track, to the wall, to the roof.
That a little dribbler, and Echeverria is going to get himself a hit. Bolsinger may have hurt himself coming off the mound. He started to limp as he got to the infield dirt.
Pitcher, number 15.
And he's walking behind the mound.
Dodgers need, yeah.
And maybe that's why he didn't go after the ball. Here's a look at it. As it is, it's hit number 2 for the Marlins. Leadoff hit, and you've got Haren up now with Gordon and Prado to follow. You'll probably see Dan Haren try to bunt the baseball.
He's dropped down a couple of nice sacrifice bunts so far this year. Handles the bat very well.
That would be a nifty bunt.
Put that in an instructional video. It's amazing when a guy drops down a bunt and does it in this fashion. It looks so easy, and yet you see others struggle so often trying to drop down that sacrifice bunt.
Now D. Gordon. Gordon came into last night's ball game with a 13-game hit streak. Was 0 for 4 with a walk, and he shoots one wide of third. Entered the night hitting .425. He's at .422, 54 hits.
There's so many great numbers that D has put up. He became the 8th player since 1914 to have 54 hits through the first 30 games.
Swings and misses at a breaking ball down and in. Adam Jones in the American League hitting .357. Nelson Cruz of Seattle at .344. And of course, Gordon at .422. Adrian Gonzalez, the Dodger first baseman, is behind him at .370.
I think the one area, and we've seen some teams, not very many, with the way that D. Gordon's been hitting. And he has to be patient. This is an area of his game as a hitter, is to not chase that breaking ball that's in the dirt out of the strike zone.
Dodgers seem to be throwing him a few more breaking balls than he's seen this year.
Because they know he's a good fastball hitter.
There's a fastball, and he doesn't chase that, and it's 2-2.
Mike Bolsinger has one major league win. It was last April.
fouled back to the screen. Email from Gavin. My name is Gavin. I'm from Martinez, California. How about that?
Hey, where you grew up.
So I. Used to live in Palm Beach Gardens. I went to the Giants game on Saturday in my Marlins stuff. Got booed, yelled at, and some stuff thrown in my general direction. Has that ever happened to you, Tommy, when you were in the big leagues? Or in the booth, for that matter?
What, get stuff thrown at me?
Yeah. Here's a 2-2. Pulls that breaking ball down the first baseline. Adrian Gonzalez gets the out. 2 outs. And here comes Martin Prado.
I cannot remember getting stuff thrown at me, so probably more opportunities in the booth.
I will say this. I had some family come to the ballpark, AT&T, with Marlins gear on, and they were not booed and had nothing untoward happen to them. Although Rick Monday looked like he wanted to throw something at you when he came by the booth moments before we went on the air. Here's Prado, and he takes a strike.
Longtime major leaguer, terrific broadcaster for the Dodgers. Rick Monday, Charlie Steiner on the radio side of things for the Dodgers. There's Rick.
Prado sends it to left, and Slight comes charging in and makes the catch. And Bolsinger survives a scare. Giancarlo Stanton's home run is standing up. It's 1-0. Roof. It's corrugated. Randi Vision Cam. Look and watch where it comes down. And wait a minute, Tommy, who's that down there? That is Manny Colon, director of team travel, who is smartly positioned in
always in the right place at the right time.
That one off the bat of Kendrick, and that one is not coming back. Howie Kendrick ties the game for the Dodgers off of Dan Haren. The long ball giveth, and right there for the Marlins, it takes a 1-0 lead away.
Well, for Kendrick, his 4th home run of the year, and we talked about it last night, Rich, the dryness that they've gone through here in Southern California has created a lot better travel with the baseball. Usually at night you get damp air here in Southern California. That hasn't been the case, and the ball has been jumping.
Adrian Gonzalez. A breaking ball, and it's pulled foul. You know, I haven't spoken to anybody that's seen some games in Anaheim. Is the same thing happening?
I believe so.
In Anaheim?
We've actually seen some high-scoring games in San Diego, too, this year.
Dan Haren has given up 10 runs this year and 7 home runs. All but 1 run scored has come on the 7 home runs.
Rich, and I hate to tell you, but the dry weather is earthquake weather.
Well, you grew up down here where there's earthquakes. I grew up in Northern California where there's earthquakes, but
we were at either ends of the San Andreas Fault.
That one foul back and out of play. What do you got? Now, I've been riding the emails. You got any tweets that have popped out of your?
I do.
Your mailbag? We've talked an awful lot about the closer spot in our first couple of innings of emails and tweets. That one pulled foul.
Abo just tweeting. Amazing that the Gordon Haren trade has worked out. Thank goodness Haren didn't retire. I don't think he was ever really close to doing that.
I think Dan
He's talked about it.
Yeah, I think Dan Haren isn't a guy that likes to talk much at all. And many people interpreted that as he didn't want to pitch on the East Coast. He didn't want to pitch out of Los Angeles, and that he wouldn't pitch for Miami. And Haren never said that. He was in contact with the ball club. Remember, the Marlins told a lot of people, including both of us, in January that they had talked to Haren and expected him to be there in spring training. And thankfully, he was. And, of course, D. Gordon has had a smoking hot start. Nice play. Kings fan. Luke Robitaille's at the ball game tonight. That's strike 3 called inside corner. Gonzalez doesn't like the call. Bob Davidson, the home plate umpire.
Oh, it's a pretty good battle by Adrian Gonzalez, who usually gives the pitcher a battle. And
it's in.
It's inside. He's got a pretty good eye at the plate. He's always up around 400 with the on-base percentage. He's over 400 right now.
So home run by Kendrick. A strikeout of Gonzalez. And here is Alex Guerrero.
Got a tweet from Tom. Tom wants to know who the 4 handsome guys are sitting in the front row behind home plate. I think we'll recognize them, Rich.
Is it Tom and his buddies?
No, it's not Tom. BJ Loyello, DJ.
That's Go-Go, right?
Dennis Gilbert and David Sampson. Dennis Gilbert, a one-time agent, now an attorney here in the area. Very, very wonderful philanthropist. Does a great event every year for the Scouts dinner. Has established that. So those guys, those are the 4 handsome guys. There's Dennis.
Last night we
played a little minor league baseball, too.
Yeah, he did. Last night we spotted Jason Alexander. Costanza was here. Rob Reiner. We haven't seen Pat Sajak yet. In the air, first base. In foul territory, Morse makes the catch. And there are 2 outs. A night in Havana, powered by South Florida Ford on Friday, May 22nd. Marlins and the Orioles at 7:10. Purchase the Night in Havana package at marlins.com/special events. You get a ticket, a Havana Sugar Kings t-shirt, and more. Post-game fireworks show presented by Corona Lights. Powered by South Florida Ford.
Rich, there's a tweet from, and I'm going to pronounce it Sauce. It looks like sauce. There's Rob Reiner. But Sauce says these late nights with the fish have helped me keep up while I study for my law finals. I'm curious what kind of law degree he's going after, but I hope it helps. So Meathead here every night.
That's right.
He's a diehard. He wanted the Kershaw bobblehead.
One and two. 2 outs. A home run by Howie Kendrick has tied this game up. And Dan Haren, who does not look sharp. Remember, the Dodgers stranded 2 in the first. They stranded 3 in the second. And the Kendrick homer has tied it here in the third. That ball to center. Ozuna back at the track. And he makes the catch. A long out from Grandal in a 1-1 game. Stanton's coming up. Stick around.
Ball game heading into the 4th inning. Well, just a reminder, it is an email and Twitter Tuesday. We're taking all of your tweets at the handle @FoxMarlins. All of your emails can go to foxmarlins@gmail.com, and remember to use that special hashtag late night with the fish. How about this one from Jasmine? Not only is she staying up late to watch the Marlins, she's studying for her AP history exam. So we've got AP exams and law exams, Rich and Tommy.
Yes, we do, and we've got geography quiz and some math as well, and that all came with one swing from Giancarlo Stanton. The geography quiz is this: if the ball hits the back of the roof at Dodger Stadium, is it considered out of the stadium?
And the word we're getting from Dodger officials is yes.
All right, now here's the math. For Stanton, unofficially 478 feet. That breaking ball is popped, fouling out of play, and the count is 2-1. Willie Stargell, and Tommy talked about this one in 1969, has the longest of the balls to get out, 506 feet, and that was off of Alan Foster.
Yeah, I don't think that one hit the top.
But again, I think that Stanton distance will be recalibrated once a few of the distance services get a hold of it. Bolsinger missed away with a breaking ball, and it's 3-1. Well, Stanton got a pitch to hit right there, and he had a mean rip and fouls it back. Mike Bolsinger, an emergency starter. The Dodgers They've had to do this numerous times this year. Breaking ball, and he took it, and that is a significant walk because that's a pitch that Stanton has been swinging at without any success over the last 2 weeks. A breaking ball that starts out about waist high and ends up down in the dirt, and he didn't offer at it.
So many times you and I talk about that. You can judge how a hitter's coming out of a possible slump as to how he takes pitches and if he walks. And you're right, that's a great sign from Giancarlo.
Stanton's at bat. Fox tracks that last pitch, number 6. He and Adrian Gonzalez getting to talk about that home run right now. They had a brief chat when Stanton was jogging around the bases. We asked about Angel Stadium. Aaron Charlton is our baseball historian here. And he found that last year, Angel Stadium averaged 1.58 homers per game. This year, it's at 1.82. Stanton's at first, nobody out. And Ozuna, who homered himself in yesterday's game, takes it. It's 2-1. Ozuna, his 3rd home run, and they have all come since he arrived on the West Coast. 2 in San Francisco and 1 on his first night in Los Angeles. This was Ozuna last night. Ozuna to center field. Peterson back. And now circles back and makes the catch. So an out, here comes Yelich. And a reminder for all of you studying for your law degree or the bar exam, this copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Miami Marlins may not be reproduced, retransmitted in any form. The counts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins or your law professor. Yelich walked and was caught stealing in the second. Stanton's at first.
After this first pitch, I have a tweet from David. David's in Port St. Lucie. Do we have any closers in AA or AAA? I don't think the answer right now is there. I think it'll be somewhere here. And then, which coach handles the outfield defense? That would be Brett Butler, who does a nice job with the base runners and also the outfield defense.
I've got a much more serious one, and that is from Timmy in Liberty City. I was wondering, is that Elvis sitting at the back of home plate with a white Dodgers jersey on? And you know what? It is. It looks like Dodger Elvis.
Dodger Elvis.
Or maybe a cross between Elvis and Fernando Valenzuela. If Fernando Valenzuela and Elvis had a child, that's what it would look like. Little dribbler. Gonzalez goes to get it. Fires out to short. Rollins relays, not nearly in time. Yelich beats it. But there are 2 outs, and Michael Morse is coming up.
Just didn't square that ball up the way he'd like. He was trying to get the ball through the hole on the right side. Not really a double play opportunity. It's another thing lost with Adrian Gonzalez. He has won Gold Gloves. We talked about that. He's won 4. He does a real nice job, real smooth over there.
Yelich is at first. Remember, he was caught stealing. Yasmani Grandal has thrown out both Miami base stealers or would-be base stealers. One last night, one tonight. Tyler from Vero Beach, Dodgertown. Are there any more signs left up there in Vero that just say Dodgertown, or did they all get packed up?
Well, that's a good, I would think yes, but I haven't been up there for a while.
1-0 pitch is swung on missed. Anyways, his email. If D stays at this pace, do you think he could be chasing his teammates' record at the end of the year? That would be most hits in a season. Major League history, Ichiro, 262. And P.S. Tommy, I think a good rant is in order if the closing issues continue. Didn't hear the end of the game last night? I mean, Tommy let go a pretty good one.
And, you know, I was just trying to be honest. I try to tell you what I think is felt in the clubhouse, what is felt with fans, what is felt with Mike Redmond and the coaching staff. It was frustration.
Morse, a chopper over the middle. Rollins thought about second. Instead goes to first and gets the out. Pair of home runs. Elvis has not yet left his seat. Miami Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Checkers. Get Checkers authentic Philly cheesesteak or try the new meatball sub. Pick yours. Now, are those Dodger dogs?
It looks more like a little Dodger sausage.
A run apiece for the Marlins and the Dodgers. The iconic Dodger dogs served here at Dodger Stadium. Are they still manufactured? They're not manufactured. That's not a good term to use when talking about processed food. But are they still products of Farmer John's?
I think so. I believe so.
Next half inning, we'll go ask Vince Scully. He knows, right? Andre Ethier fouls it at the plate.
Oh, little peppers and onions there. So you get the sausage mixed in with the peppers and onions.
That's good for the stomach, isn't it? Here's the 1-1. Center field, Ozuna back, looking up, and that is gone. And Andre Ethier has given the Dodgers a 2-1 lead.
Well, we talked about it last night. The amazing career Andre Ethier has had against the Marlins. He's closing in on 200 career at-bats against the Marlins with an average of over 370. This ball was crushed. Marcell Ozuna took a couple of steps, and right about there, he knew it.
Here is Scott Van Slyke. 8 home runs Dan Haren has given up. 6 of the 8 have been solo shots, including 2 tonight. That's popped up, and Real Muto can't get to it.
Had a tweet from Refresh. Wants to know what you think of calling up Carter Capps for a shot at the closer role. I just looked at Carter Capps' numbers. He's still 13 innings. I look at it this way. I don't really care too much about the ERA. It's 2.11. He's given up 8 hits and 10 walks, though, in 13 innings.
Van Slyke left center. Yelich at the wall makes the catch.
This feels like playing a game at Coors Field.
It's really amazing. You grew up coming to games at this ballpark. You got to the big leagues here with the Dodgers. You've spent your life after that broadcasting games and coming here at least once a year. And, I mean, I've never seen it. I haven't been coming here as long as you. Have you ever seen the ball fly this well at Dodger Stadium?
Never have. Never have. And when we had our conversation with Don Mattingly, he brought that up, talked about the dryness. He said you used to be able to turn around there the second or third inning, the top of the dugout would be damp. There'd be moisture. There'd be a little moisture on the grass. He said that's not the case.
2-1. Dodgers have a lead. Howie Kendrick, Andre Ethier with homers for the Dodgers. Giancarlo Stanton with a tape measure shot out of Dodger Stadium for the Marlins. Tommy Hutton likes to call Giancarlo Stanton Big G, and I think picking up on that, Michael has this email. Tommy, what's your favorite Young Jeezy song?
You know what? It depends on the mood. I mean, I used to be a fan of hood politics, but I'm not going there right now. Super Freak is all right. And after the Stanton blast, Way to Gone kind of goes along with Giancarlo.
I feel so old. I just do. Peterson takes a strike. Jock Peterson in the leadoff spot for the Dodgers, who have 7 hits. And along with their 2 solo homers, they've left 5 on base.
Last night you talked about the season that Jock Peterson had last year. He was a 30-30 guy in AAA. So he comes with all the credentials, and they expect him to be around for a while.
Dan Haren strikes him out. Another solo homer, this one by Andre Ethier, and the Dodgers have a 2-1 lead.
A 2-1 lead. I'm sitting here by Jody Millard. Jody won the reverse road trip in the fantasy auction. And Jody, you were actually born and raised in South Florida. You're a huge Marlins fan, but you had never been to Marlins Park until you had the opportunity to win the reverse road trip. You went there for a 3-game set against the Braves. What was Marlins Park like?
Well, when we arrived, I brought my daughter, and when we arrived, they gave us a tour of the park, kind of gave us the background, how Miss Loria actually set it up and what the whole Art Deco thing is for South Florida. But in my own personal opinion, it was stunning. It was beautiful. I was so thrilled to be there. It was immense feeling to watch Joe Robbie Stadium, then Shark Stadium, and then whatever it turned out to be, to walk into that stadium and just see what they accomplished trying so hard to get a stadium. So it was beautiful.
And not only did you have the opportunity to go to your first Marlins game at Marlin Park, but you had the chance to take your daughter with you. How special was that opportunity for you?
Well, if anybody knows me, my daughter is the apple of my eye, and I have a son as well, but he's not old enough yet to experience what I take my daughter to do. So we take a lot of daddy-daughter trips, go to New York. I brought her out for a surprise birthday party last year, but for just one day we flew. But bringing her to the park, she was my plus one. She's always my plus one whenever I do something, and I know she enjoyed it, especially when we threw out the first pitch.
Did you get a chance to check out the Clevelander?
I'm sorry?
Did you get a chance to check out the Clevelander?
Well, they wouldn't. We saw it because I brought my 8-year-old. They wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't allow her to stay in the hotel. So we stayed at the Essex House, which they set up for us. It was part of the reverse road trip. But then when we were in the tour that they gave us, the private tour, you know, if I was a young kid and I liked the party, that's where I'd want to be.
There are a lot of great spots around Marlins Park. Well, congratulations on winning that. The fantasy auction, of course, such a great opportunity to not only bid on some cool prizes, but to really give back to charity. All right, thanks so much. Rich, Tommy, up to you.
All right, thank you. The double play turned nicely by the Dodgers. Mike Bolsinger, Howie Kendrick erasing both Adeiny Echeverria and JT Realmuto.
And Rich, the date this year, fantasy auction coming up during a Cubs game, isn't it?
June 3rd, Cubs Marlins, the Fox Sports Florida fantasy auction. Proud to have Ford back on board as a sponsor this year. It'll be the Ford Big Board and our pledge packs, which always sell out. We have our pledge pack ambassador for this year who will be signing the baseballs that will be in the pledge packs, and that is D. Gordon. Pledge packs will have all kinds of cool stuff, as it usually does, from the Marlins team store, from Tommy Bahama. There's a 2-2. Haren takes a breaking ball up. We'll have more details on that as the month goes along, but that's coming up. Dan Haren won't go down easy here. Mike Bolsinger, the Arkansas product. Haren fights that one off as well. Two-1 Los Angeles. 3 solo homers in the ballgame. The Dodgers at 21-10, the best in baseball. And Bolsinger strikes out Haren. Miami is done in the 5th. Halfway through, it's 2-1 Dodgers.
A.J. Burnett is 3 strikes away from a no-hitter. That's a no-hitter! A.J. Burnett has thrown a no-hitter on May 12, 2001. The 3rd no-hitter in Marlin history. And the 24-year-old from Arkansas has written his name into the history books. Alan James Burnett.
And that, the Geico Marlins moment. It's funny looking at all the names in there. Cliff Floyd, Preston Wilson.
Preston there.
Derek Lee, Mike Redmond, Kevin Millar.
I was happy to be on the call with Dave O'Brien. We looked at each other in the 5th inning. We said, hey, he's got a no-hitter going.
Brian Dempster there as well. Think about all the guys that were in that shot who are on television now. Cliff, Preston, Ryan Dempster on MLB Network. That one is going to get by Echeverria. And his throw behind the runner, scampering back with a hit. The Dodgers get their leadoff man aboard, Jimmy Rollins, with a hit.
Yeah, just out of the reach of Echeverria. Just happy there was no collision between Yelich and Etch. Kevin Millar in that shot, another MLB Network employee. So, yeah, a lot of TV guys in that group.
Now Kendrick, 2 for 2, infield hit and a homer to right.
And I'll tell you the most amazing thing about that.
Ball in the dirt. Realmuto's throw safe is Rollins. On a wild pitch.
Wild pitch, tough to a good base running. We've seen that over the years with Jimmy Rollins. Tough to let him get there on this wild pitch, but it trickled away enough, and he got a good enough jump. But I was just going to add, the most amazing thing about that is that A.J. Burnett is still pitching.
That's right. And Mike Redmond is managing, and everybody else is in TV. Pitch misses in. We've got a lot of emails just in the last few minutes about Dodger Town. A lot of our fans up in Vero Beach letting us know that there is still Dodger stuff around.
Yeah, there had to be. That's good to hear.
They play baseball tournaments there year-round. Plenty of signs left. Gordon goes to get it and gets an out. And Kendrick puts Adrian Gonzalez in an RBI spot with 1 out and a runner at 3rd. That's Sean from Tampa. Let us know. Jason as well. He and his brother played in a baseball tournament just a couple of months ago. And also another email, and I don't have a name attached to it. On a trip with his son for a tournament, they got to stay in the Tommy Lasorda room, where he stayed in spring training. That one gets by JT Realmuto, and I think it was a foul tip. Or did he get hit? He got hit. Ball came in, clipped his foot. Gonzalez was trying to play that off as it didn't, because it obviously means a run for the Dodgers.
And if a batter gets hit, it's a dead ball. If it did hit his foot, it just barely hit the foot. But there it is.
Well, that may be a break for Dan Haren here by an inch or two. He still is a ground ball away from getting out of this inning. Also, Major League has umpire training there. The Montreal Alouettes have used it for a preseason camp. There are weddings. It's called Historic Dodger Town, and it has a website if you're interested. Thanks for all the notes, kids. That one is deep. Yelich is back at the wall, off the wall. Alex Guerrero sends home 1 run. It's an RBI double.
The way the ball is traveling, you almost assume that's going to leave the yard, but it was a line drive, little top spin, so that kept it in the ballpark. You talked about the tremendous years playing for the Cuban team that Alex Guerrero had. Always hit over 300, hit home runs, and crushed that ball.
Yasmani Grandal has singled and flied to deep center. Off the middle into center field. That'll mean 2 runs. Gonzalez scores. Guerrero's behind him. And the Dodgers have cracked it open here to 5-1.
Well, I tell you what, Yasmani Grandal has been an RBI machine as of late. We talked about the big 8 RBI game he had recently. He was 4 for 4 in that game with a couple of home runs. Grandal with 2 RBIs there, has 15 now on the season.
Number 16, Ethier.
Brad Hand is up in Miami's bullpen.
You know, it was one of those nights for Dan Haren, who, with his ability as a veteran pitcher, you could see he didn't have his best of location, his best of stuff. And he worked his way through 3-4 innings, but you just had the feeling if things didn't improve, the Dodgers, who are an excellent hitting team, would start putting together a number of base hits, and they've done so in this inning.
The Los Angeles Dodgers have clubbed 51 home runs, including the 2 solo shots tonight. Best in baseball. Ethier has homered and he singles to right. And the barrage continues. 11 hits now for the Dodgers.
And Andre Ethier is 3 for 3 tonight.
Typical whenever he faces Miami.
And remember, last year he was the odd man out. Crawford, Kemp, and Puig. Where are we going to play Ethier? Well, he's still here and he's still hitting.
Marlins may be trying to buy some time for Brad Hand to loosen up.
Yeah, they haven't had a whole lot of time because the last 3 hits have all come on the first pitch.
Well, we'll buy some time as well. Our T-Mobile game changer last night, Scott Van Slyke, broke an 0 for 13, going 3 for 4. His second career walk-off homer, and 4 putouts, and was key in that double play. And Mike Redmond's on his way out to the mound. Marlins going to make a change here. Brad Hand is coming in, and Dan Haren has a short start here in Los Angeles. He can't get through the 5th. He will leave with a pair of runners on. 3 runs across and a 5-1 Dodger lead. West Kendall Toyota called to the pen. On Sunday, May 17th, Marlins and Braves, a 1:10 start. Pick up the Pepsi 4 for $70, 4-pack at 4 tickets, 4 KMB Franks, and 4 Pepsis for $74. Kids get a Giancarlo Stanton growth chart, courtesy of Fox Sports Florida. Kids can run the bases in the Diamond Dash. Marlins.com, the place to go for tickets. Brad Hand in to face Scott Van Slyke with Andre Ethier at first base and Yasmani Grandal at second.
Been some inconsistent outings for Brad Hand. He just hasn't been able to establish a whole lot of time out there. He worked a couple of innings in the Marlins 6-0 loss in San Francisco. Second game of that series at AT&T.
So Van Slyke 1 for 2 after a 3-hit night last night. And a strike from Hand.
Really interesting as Dan Haren tries to think about this one tonight. The bottom line, he's pitched well. He didn't have his best stuff tonight. No way around it. But I find it interesting watching Scott Van Slyke, having seen his dad play.
To left, it's a hit. Yelich to cut it off around third. Grandal will score. It's another RBI double. And the Dodgers have a 6-1 lead.
Well, that run will be tagged on to the line of Dan Haren. Yeah, Scott Van Slyke, the build is similar. He's a little taller, but he's a right-handed hitter, so completely different. His father, a 3-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Glover, and a tremendous player for the Pirates and the Cardinals, mainly.
There's still only one out. Here's Mike Bolsinger. And Bolsinger has to be feeling pretty good about the spot start right now. The only thing he hasn't been able to do is keep Giancarlo Stanton in the ballpark. But you see the Marlins infield is in, runners second and third. But as it is, Miami has just that run on 3 hits. And the Dodgers have scored 6 runs on 12 hits.
Yeah, the Dodgers have to be ecstatic at the 5 innings so far that Bolsinger's given them.
Bolsinger does have a win in his major league career, albeit a short career. This is just his 12th major league appearance, his 11th major league start. He's 1-6. Fouls it back. Haren is still on the hook for Ethier at third base. 4 1/3 innings. 11 hits. And so far the 6 runs all earned. No walks, 4 strikeouts. Fouled at the plate, and it's 2-2.
Had a tweet earlier from Let's Go Marlins. Why won't Mike Redmond move Echeverria up in the lineup? To be honest, the only place to move him would be to 7th. Because with the way everybody else is hitting, top of the lineup, Gordon, Prado, Stanton, Ozuna, Yelich, Morse. And he's pretty comfortable in the 8th spot. And you would hate to put a young hitter like JT Realmuto in the 8th spot. So Really, the only place you'd move him would be to 7, and I think he's a perfect fit for number 8.
There are days when Mike Redmond has Donovan Solano in the game or Jonathan Solano in the game.
And we've seen Ethier up in the lineup.
Full count, infield in, 3-2 from Hand to the pitcher, Mike Bolsinger. Little tapper back to the mound. Hand's going to get the out at first. And now there are 2 outs in the inning. Jock Peterson, the 9th man to come to the plate, is up now for the Dodgers. In baseball tonight, the Giants, boy, after the Marlins left Washington, D.C., the Nationals had been on a tear. Now the Giants are in Houston, and they blitzed the Astros. 8-1 is the final. Giants winning in Houston. Giants are a game over 500 now. Houston falls to 20-13.
After their 10-game winning streak, they've kind of come down to earth a little bit, the Astros.
Tonight, a big night for Met fans. Noah Syndergaard making the start, and it didn't go all that well. 5 1/3, 3 runs, 6 hits, not bad. Walked 4, struck out 6, but got the loss as the Cubs beat the Mets 6-1. Reds beat the Braves 4-3. Reds walked off in the 9th. Devin Mesoraco, a pinch hit double. Nationals are in Arizona, and it's Arizona 11-4 on top of Washington. Here, Miami got a 1-0 lead on Giancarlo Stanton's homer. 2 solo shots. Howie Kendrick, Andre Ethier. Dodgers had a 2-1 lead, and it's all kind of fallen apart for Dan Haren. Brad Hand trying to pick up the pieces of what's left of this 5th inning. Toyota Trends, who's hot right now in St. Louis, San Francisco. It's amazing that the Marlins are 12-7, and yet they're on a losing skid right now.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, you talked about that Washington-Arizona score. The story there is that Steven Strasburg, 3 1/3 innings, 8 hits and 8 runs allowed, 7 earned.
One and 2, and 23-year-old Jock Peterson. Cardinals won again, 8-3. They won in Cleveland. 23 wins now for St. Louis. Up and in, and a swing and a miss. Brad Hand strikes out Jock Peterson, but the Dodgers put some distance between themselves and Miami. League Baseball is headed back to Fox Sports 1, and the Marlins and the Braves are featured right out of the chute. And in the second half, you've got the Pirates and the Cubs. Coverage starts at 1 Eastern. You're home for baseball every Saturday. Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. D. Gordon, third time through for the top of the order. And a strike against Gordon.
Here's the irony of Mike Bolsinger starting for the Dodgers. We mentioned his last time out was May 6th. It was in the minor leagues. It was against the Marlins AAA affiliate, New Orleans. Tonight he's gone 5 innings. He's given up 3 hits and a run. In that start, he went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits and 2 runs. Got a no decision. New Orleans went on to win that game 4-3.
Gordon takes out. D. Gordon's 0 for 2. And
he was a guy, Rich, excuse me, that was just, when he was scouted, one of those guys that didn't dazzle anybody. You know, wasn't going to light up radar guns.
I was going to say, Tommy, this pattern that we're seeing the Dodgers approach D. Gordon with, a lot of breaking balls, and once they get ahead of him, a lot of breaking balls in the dirt. Two. There's a breaking ball, and it's fouled off, and it's a steady diet of them.
And if it works, you know, with all the advanced scouts and everything that we see, we'll see more of it. So will D. Gordon.
Gordon busts his bat, and it's rolled out to Kendrick, who gets the out at first. And so the Dodgers have been able to keep D. Gordon off base.
Number 14, Martin Prado.
South Florida Honda dealers bring you Marlins Live tomorrow. Road trip recap. Jared Cozart getting the start for Miami.
Won't really be late night with the fish tomorrow.
Carlos Frias goes for the Dodgers. It is an odd start time here in Los Angeles, 4:50.
Could be some interesting shadows at that time.
The Dodgers do not like to play afternoon games during the week. The Marlins are traveling back to the East Coast. Miami does have an off day on Thursday. And apparently the compromise, not playing a 7 o'clock game, instead playing a game that starts around 5 o'clock. So the Marlins will get home, if all goes as planned, about 6 or 6:30 in the morning on Thursday. That one not that far in, and I think it just fooled Prado, who bent out of the way. The Nationals seem to have met their match tonight. A 12-4 Arizona lead. Middle of that ball game. That one's into center field. That's a base hit. Prado. A 1-out single that brings Stanton up.
Kind of the opposite. Last night the Nationals an 11-1 win.
Stanton.
Warren Henry driving the game in case you missed it. This was Stanton. This was up, over, and on top of the roof. A kick left down the back of the roof. And for Stanton, his 8th of the season. He would walk in the 4th. This is his 3rd at bat of the night. By the way, Mark Trumbo's hit a pair of homers for Arizona in that ball game.
And also for Giancarlo, 30 RBIs. Continues to lead the league.
One tendency for Stanton when he's not going well is to In the words of his hitting coach, Frank Menachino, has a shot into left field. Try too hard and not relax. Try to do too much, and thus you get him chasing balls out of the zone. And you know, for Stanton, he's a young player. He takes a lot on his shoulders. The tendency is when things aren't going well to try to do it all himself.
Well, I tell you, the swings tonight with the walk in between. I mean, the exit speed on that single has to be in the 110-mile-an-hour range.
114.
114.
Stanton is calling in. He wants, if there's a break in the action when he's on base, he likes to swap out his helmet that doesn't have the mask on it. There you go.
That's a good point. He doesn't want to do it to cause a break in the action.
Doesn't want to affect the pace or the flow of the game, like Rick Honeycutt's about to do as he comes out to chat with Mike Bolsinger. 1 out, 6th inning. Pair of runners on. Marcell Ozuna is up. Miami trying to climb their way back in. Paco Rodriguez, the Florida Gator, with the funky left-hand delivery.
Probably getting ready for Christian Yelich.
Marcell Ozuna has flied to right and flied to center. Emails and tweets. We need to get back on that. We took a right-hand turn.
Well, we were looking at some other scores.
Ozuna takes a strike. Pitches down low. Stand in Delray Beach against the Giants this past weekend. Christian Yelich was trying to score, but had to go wide down the third base line because the catcher was straddling the line without the ball. Isn't that interference? Should Yelich have tried to bowl him over? A swing and a miss. And talking to Mike Redmond and talking to others around the league, umpires as well, one of the things that the umpires have shifted to in the new interpretation of Tommy Hutton's favorite rule is if a guy is out, he's out. Mike Redmond was actually asked that question today about that play and said, look, the difference in that play was the ball beat him, and umpires are going with common sense. If a guy is out, a guy's out.
Now, last night was a little different on this sac fly that we thought was a sac fly. There's an area, there's a lane, just a perfect throw by Van Slyke, and a great tag by Grandal.
Yeah, and different from the play in San Francisco that Stan was talking about. The ball arrived a little earlier.
And if you remember, in San Francisco, it was Posey was up the line. He was way up the line trying to get the ball.
Bouncer to third, stopped there, and on his knees, Guerrero's going to get the out at second.
It was not Posey, it was Susek. Looking back at our scorebook, would have been ironic had it been Posey.
Yeah, that would have been laced with irony, wouldn't it? Although, you know, the other ironic thing, Hut, the home plate umpire in that play was Mike Winters, who was the home plate umpire in that Zach Cozart
play with Jeff Mathis.
Your favorite play.
Yeah. Well, we assume that Paco Rodriguez was getting ready for Christian Yelich, and our assumption proves to be correct here.
6-1 Dodgers. Pitch and change. West Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen.
tweets and emails tonight as part of an email and Twitter Tuesday using that hashtag late night with the fish. And one of the questions that I've seen pop up has to do with the sweater vest. Rich and Tommy, can you please update me on that tradition?
It's a tradition, Jessica, in colder weather, which I did break out the sweater vest a couple of nights in San Francisco. It really depends on the schedule, and if we're in colder weather early in the season, it's always a nice feel. I don't know about the look; it looks okay, but it's a nice feel in cool weather. So the sweater vest has become a little bit of a tradition.
Christian Yelich has walked, bounced into a fielder's choice.
They got a tweet from Belkis. It's worth staying up late because I'm supporting my team. Plus, I love seeing Christian Yelich play. So nice goal.
Well, Yelich is facing a lefty that is past midnight back home, who is not easy to hit, tough to pick up. We talked the other night about Tom Kohler and wrapping the hand as you start to deliver it. Does Paco Rodriguez qualify as?
Well, he does that, and then he kind of holds it out. It's really a unique and an unusual delivery. When he separates it from his glove, he kind of holds it out there and keeps it there. And it's something that, as a hitter, you just don't see other pitchers do. And in the case of Christian Yelich, it's a lefty versus lefty. And Paco Rodriguez has been a very good lefty matchup guy over the last couple of years.
He strikes out Yelich, and the Marlins fizzle here in the sixth. They leave a couple and still trail it 6-1. Late night with the Fish, Dodger Stadium. And tonight, after a Giancarlo Stanton homer to open the game, it's been all Dodgers since. They knocked Dan Haren out in the fifth. Brad Hand for Jimmy Rollins in the bottom of the sixth. Rollins fouls it back, and it is 0-1 with the late night music. Kevin tweets, now that it's officially late night with the Fish, what's your favorite adult beverages? What do you like to wash a Dodger dog down with?
Well, a Dodger dog, you see a lot of it depends on what you're having to eat.
probably be best washed down with maybe a nice craft beer.
Rollins to left. Yelich plays it on a hop.
A nice Chancellor from Tequesta Brewery. How's that?
A soju bar is popular here. There's an enormous Korean population in Los Angeles, just a few miles from Dodger Stadium. But that you're way too sophisticated. You can't. Can you have a Dodger dog with a craft beer?
Not at Dodger Stadium, probably.
Rollins with a hit. Kendrick is up. Howie Kendrick 2 for 3, including his 4th homer of the season. That was to right field.
Jonathan just tweets and says we've ruined his sleeping pattern. So thanks a lot.
How does he think ours is? Especially having lived through Sunday and Monday last night. That is going to be a base hit, and Morse does a nice job to come off the bag and keep it from anything more than just an infield single. Rollins stops at second.
Well, just in the right spot. There really wasn't a chance for Brad Hand. He gave it a chance. Kendrick picks up his 3rd base hit. A couple of infield singles and a home run.
Rollins and Kendrick on, and here is Adrian Gonzalez.
Oddly enough, Adrian Gonzalez, the only regular in the lineup without a hit.
Hit by a pitch his last time up. And there's his hit. It's over Prado's head. Yelich has had a busy night. Retrieves that one. Rollins scores. Kendrick to third. And Adrian Gonzalez has his 15th double of the season already. It's 7-1.
And of course, I'll be blamed for that double because I said he was the only one without a hit. He also, with driving in that run, has 30 RBIs. That ties him with Giancarlo.
$15 doubles. Here now is Alex Guerrero. We saw that note on the doubles. Second is Matt Carpenter of the Cardinals. That went into the seats. Matt Carpenter rejoined the Cardinals today after taking 4 games and 5 days off. Extreme fatigue. So he rejoined the team in Cleveland. Pitch misses down low. Carpenter was 2 for 5. And he picked up his 15th double. And Holiday also homered. Cardinals wiped out the Indians. There have been 3 balls hit almost in that same spot. Yelich picks it up. Kendrick scores. Gonzalez to third. And Alex Guerrero has his 2nd RBI. It's 8-1 Dodgers. The exclusive loyalty program of the Marlins is Fish Family. You can get bonus points during every Marlins road game on Fox Sports Florida. To learn more, log in. Go to marlins.com/fish family. West Coast is your bonus code.
All right, this is a dilemma as the Marlins in transition with rearranging things in the bullpen. A lot of bullpens. And as an example, the Dodgers. They have Howell, Paco Rodriguez, and Liberatore. They have 3 lefties down there. They're all pretty good lefty matchup guys. The other area of concern, I think, the Marlins don't have a lefty matchup guy. Brad Hand's one of the lefties out of the bullpen. Mike Dunn, we've talked about, has good stuff and is a quality pitcher, can get both lefties and righties out. Isn't really that funky lefty matchup guy. So there are some areas that the Marlins, I think, need to look into in that part, because the bullpen now has changed with Steve Cishek out of that closer role for the time being.
"16 hits for the Dodgers." There's Manny Grandal, switch hitting catcher. Born in Havana, raised in Miami. He takes outside. Dodgers have opened this inning with 4 consecutive hits. Massett in Miami's bullpen. It's funny how needs change depending on what's happening to a ball club. Marlins opened it at 3-11. There were a lot of needs at that point, right? Marlins weren't scoring a lot of runs. Rotation had some major bumps in the road. The bullpen was getting knocked around a bit, and then all of a sudden Miami turned it around. Starting pitching was really good. Started to score some runs and went on a nice push to get them back to 500. At 12-12. The starting pitching, for the most part, this Dan Haren start notwithstanding, he won 3 consecutive starts, beating Washington, the Phillies, and the Giants. And it's the back of the bullpen that all of a sudden has a rough trip.
Well, and then the intangible part of it is the hardest thing to get around as a team, as players, is to put aside what has happened in the tough losses, the one in San Francisco, the one last night, and not think about where you could be if not for those losses, but to have to think ahead at where you want to be. That's not easy to do.
Come to think of it, if Brad Hand continues to struggle, this is about as low a leverage spot as you could find if you want to put Steve Cishek in to get him some work. It might be too soon after last night.
He's shown the last two games so many pitches. This is not the night to do it. It would be if he hadn't worked in a few days.
Quite honestly, the Marlins are hopeful they're not in this spot very often in the near future. Broken bat from Ethier, floats into center, lands for a hit. 1 run across, 2 runs across. And the Dodgers have 4 more runs here in the 6th. There is nobody out. Andre Ethier is 4 for 4 with 3 RBIs.
Well, he has 4 hits. Kendrick with 3. This one, he shatters his bat, but just in the right spot to pick up 2 more runs, and that's going to be all for Brad Hand. Looks like Mike Redmond's going to make a double switch as well.
Ichiro comes in as part of this double switch. Nick Massett, he'll come in from Miami's bullpen. And we will step aside. 10-1 Dodgers. Bottom 6. West Kendall Toyota, call to the bullpen.
Your attention, please. Now in play, left field for the Marlins, the 51, Ichiro Suzuki.
Dan Haren knocked out in the 5th. Brad Hand knocked out here in the 6th. And Nick Massett enters. The Dodgers have sent 6 men to the plate, and there's nobody out.
Now batting for the Dodgers, number 33, Scott Van Slyke.
There is Scott Van Slyke. At the corners are the Dodgers.
Boy, this is one of those situations, too, if you're Nick Massett, because Mike Redmond was hoping to get 2 or 3 innings out of Brad Hand, and that didn't happen. So sooner or later, somebody out of that bullpen is going to have to take one for the team.
Dodger bullpen, Sergio Santos. Grandal at 3rd, Ethier across the diamond. Massett works to Van Slyke, and there are some Dodgers working on some big nights. Van Slyke to center. Ozuna back, and he makes the catch, tagging and scoring. Is Yasmani Grandal, and it's 11-1.
There have not been many Dodger hitters fooled. There have been some big swings, some hard hit balls. So the bottom line, you can do all the scouting and look at all the video you want, but if you don't execute pitches, it doesn't matter.
Kike Hernandez. Puerto Rico. Kike coming over from Houston Astros and then sent to the Dodgers in the big trade between the Marlins and the Dodgers early December last year.
Yeah, he came over. Kike came over with Jared Cozart in that deal.
Dodger fan happy, Marlin fan not so much. Bassett misses up high with a breaking ball. in the Cubs win, spoiling Noah Syndergaard's debut, Chris Coughlin, a 2-run homer. Chris Bryant also homered, a solo shot. Cubs are coming to Marlins Park in early June.
Anthony Rizzo will be returning home for a 3-game series.
The breaking ball from Massett. And Hernandez goes down looking.
Number 31, Jock Peterson.
Now Jock Peterson.
An interesting run for Peterson. 43 strikeouts with his 3 strikeouts tonight. He's walked 28 times. On base percentage over 400. And extra base hits, not many singles, but he does have a single tonight.
As much money as the Dodgers have, and they have a lot. New television deal, 40,000 plus every night. Their payroll is $271 million. They still have to develop players like Peterson. They've got to develop young players. You can't just do it by signing and overpaying for the Brandon McCarthy's of the world. 4 years, $48 million to keep Andre Ethier around like they have. And that's why I think a guy like Peterson is so important to the Dodgers. If Grandal continues to blossom, that would be a big lift for them. If you think about it, there aren't that many organizations that have had a run of success without player development.
And then if you think back at some of the Dodger teams that were successful, they were filled with players who they developed.
'81, 1988. 1988, the last World Championship for the Dodgers. Morse, nicely done. Michael Morse smothers the ball, steps on the bag. Uh-oh. That's a 10-run reel, kids.
All right, we'd like to call this Ask the Dodgers, presented by New Balance.
Universe. More live TV channels on the go than cable. This was tonight in Jupiter. Roger Dean Stadium. Henderson Alvarez rehab start. 6 innings, 4 hits. No runs, no walks, no aches, no pains, and 5 strikeouts. And as Michael Hill told us tonight, in all probability, Marlins are leaning towards one more start, maybe in Jacksonville. And expect Henderson Alvarez after that to be back in Miami's rotation.
Doesn't look great, the entertainer up in Palm Beach County in Jupiter. Kike Hernandez stays in to play left field, and moving from left field over to first base is Scott Van Slyke. So coming out of the game to rest a little bit, Adrian Gonzalez.
Michael Morse is up as well.
And there's the new pitcher, Sergio
Santos. Morse takes up and in. Michael Morse 0 for 2. Mike Bolsinger. Think about the starters the Marlins have seen on this road trip. Zach Greinke last night, San Francisco, Madison Bumgarner, Tim Lincecum, Tim Hudson. And of course in Washington, Marlins ran into Steven Strasburg, Jordan Zimmerman, Max Scherzer. But it's been Mike Bolsinger who's put in one of the best performances the Marlins have seen on this trip. He's in line for just his 2nd major league win.
Well, the Marlins scored as many runs off Zach Greinke as they did off Bolsinger. 1. Get that guy in New Jersey.
Guerrero crossed the diamond, and Morse is out. There's Paco Rodriguez pitched a 3rd of an inning. JT Realmuto for Miami.
Galeano has a nice outlook on things, tweeting, okay, the game took a wrong turn down who knows what street, but we're in California, so it could have been down the 101 out to the 210.
I get it. I know where she's going.
Past the Baja Fresh.
There's no Baja Fresh. There is no Baja Fresh on Santa Monica Boulevard. There is an In-N-Out, I think.
Yes, there is.
California.
Somewhere on Santa Monica Boulevard there is.
Boy, I could use a good dose of humor right about now.
Yeah.
That is the 110, and that's actual live shot right now. I'm telling you, in California, it moves quickly. Here's a 1-1 to Realmuto.
And a nice chat with JT's dad, who's here tonight. So watching his son a little bit.
Got to be pretty proud. Have a tweet from Keats. Playoff games are over. Finally able to turn the sound on for this game. Is the 10-run reel coming up? Yes, Keats, we're working on it.
Yeah, Jonathan asked about the 10-run reel too.
Yep, that spreads. It's one of the things about social media, Tommy. Realmuto out to center field. Peterson is there, and he makes the catch. All right, 10-run reel, and we dive into it for the first time this season. This is from Los Angeles. What do we got? Oh, little batting practice. Look out, everybody. And what's for lunch? And watch. Oh, there goes the Coke, too. She got the ball. She lost all of her lunch and her drink.
Probably lost about $26 worth of food, but got the ball.
Danny Echeverria. The fastball misses in from Santos. Ball and a strike. Echeverria with 2 outs. Dodger Stadium crowd. Few have started home. They've got their Clayton Kershaw bobbleheads. Didn't notice these until a while ago. They've got out in left field and right field behind the bullpens, a long ways from home plate. Still, it looks like it's a new bar out there with seats above the bullpen. There's one down the left field line. There's one down the right field line.
Yeah, they've added. You talked about the renovations they've put in the last few years. They've added a few little areas as we walk in.
Fastball up, and Echeverria walks. Let's see if we stay here in Los Angeles. Yeah, Los Angeles, the skateboarding dog.
Always a favorite. That's one of my favorites.
Now watch him turn around. Come on back.
Good balance. He'd be a good hitter. Good balance.
Only in Los Angeles. Ichiro's up. Remember the double switch.
I'm going to guess that had to be down somewhere. Venice Beach, maybe. Down by the Santa Monica Pier, perhaps.
That is very telling because that's essentially where our production staff hangs out during the day. 1-0 pitch to Ichiro. Echeverria at first. Ichiro pulls a ground ball. Diving stop on his feet. Kendrick. Out. The Marlins are going to look at that. It means a hit for Ichiro. And so we'll take a look at it as well.
Boy, it's one of those things that the Dodgers just haven't been able to do anything wrong tonight. They're making plays.
And no challenge. Mike Redmond's making a pitching change. Still 11-1 Dodgers. be Manny would, at least for a time here in LA.
我有几个球真的打得不错。
这个球飞到了是在左外野方向。This ball is long gone, just like the ex-girlfriend who will never return. Home run! 这个球就像是变了心的女朋友回复。
That may have been Manny's last home run.
Home run, solo home run.
That was in the, I believe, in the Korea, right? The Korean League. Manny Ramirez's last hurrah as Jeff Baker comes into the ball game. I mean, for that announcer to have translated that saying into English and be sitting on it and waiting for the exact right moment to say it.
I wonder if Manny down in Weston, lives in the Weston area, may have checked that out. He can tell us a little bit about that home run. Donovan Solano comes in. He's at short. You saw Jeff Baker in left. Ichiro moves over to right. So Giancarlo is out of the game.
Jimmy Rollins. And Rollins pulls a ground ball. Gordon goes to get it and flips it to Michael Morse. Nick Massett has an out here in the 7th. Outs have been tough to get for the Marlins on the mound in this one. Dan Haren, 4 1/3, 11 hits, 6 runs. Brad Hand, 2/3 of an inning, 6 hits, 5 runs.
Well, the last 2 innings alone, the Dodgers sent 17 men to the plate. Scored 4 runs in the 5th and 5 runs in the 6th.
And it's 1-0.
By the way, do you know whose birthday it is today?
Yogi Berra's.
Yogi Berra turned 90 years old today.
Prado left his feet, got a piece of it. Howie Kendrick has his 4th hit of the night. He's 4 for 5. Yogi Berra's birthday.
Yogi Berra, Hall of Fame career. Deja vu all over again. 90% mental, the other half is physical. That's always a good one. You can observe a lot by watching.
Why buy good luggage? You only use it when you travel.
You know the amazing thing, reading, Yogi had 12 postseason home runs.
On Uribe to center, the ballpark will hold it. Ozuna sets up and makes the catch.
But you forget, back in those days, there was no wild card game, no division series, no championship series. So all 12 of those home runs were in the World Series.
Tomorrow's starters, brought to you by Chevron, Jerry Cozart and Carlos Frias for the Dodgers, or as the PA announcer here says, for the Dodgers. New PA voice here at Dodger Stadium this year. Here is Alex Guerrero.
So far, this guy has come as advertised. A guy who can really swing the bat. He's double and single the last 2 at bats.
And I think Major League Baseball is finding that with a lot of the Cuban players who have come to the game in the last 2 or 3 years. They are coming as advertised, which speaks to the strength and the quality of baseball in Cuba.
Which brings up a question. I have a question for you. I don't know if you know the answer. I don't. We can speculate on it. My guess is the competition that he's been playing in Cuban national baseball would be a step above Japanese baseball.
Yes, would agree.
Probably why you see more hitters coming over from Cuba than you do from Japan.
And more pitchers coming from Japan than hitters.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things about Cuban baseball is their season is in the winter. And they hot, humid summers, they don't play. They're in a different time frame than Major League Baseball. How long do you think it will be before? And here's Grandal, who was born in Havana, raised in Miami.
Perfectly timed, a nice transition.
How long before Major League Baseball plays a game in Cuba, whether it's an exhibition game?
Oh, I would guess within a couple of years. Possibly a spring training game.
I would think whoever goes down there, they would play more than one game. It would be a couple games. One. Little roller up the line, and it's foul.
Let's see, Rich, where have we strayed from Twitter?
Well, let's face it, that was many years ago where we strayed from the norm. Well, we strayed into the 10-run reel by demand on Twitter. We hope that we are taking requests, so...
Well, here's...
I'd actually like to see the Manny home run one more time because the home run call snuck up on me.
Here's at Peyton_11754. But games like this make me wonder why I'm still a Marlin fan. But I can't let them go. They are my life. And you know what? If you're a fan, you hang in there during games like this.
And we thank you for that. Swing and a miss. 11-1 Dodgers. Okay, there he is, our mascot.
And the Marlins' lone run coming on a solo shot from Giancarlo Stanton in the top of the first that even Dodger fans had to respect. Kathy certainly loved it. She tweeted out the following: "It's out of here with what looked like a Giancarlo Stanton bobblehead. I'm pretty sure it's made out of Legos, though." Either way, Rich and Tommy, that Stanton home run was certainly impressive.
It was, and if you were here at the ballpark at the time, it was interesting to see because the fans here in Los Angeles, sometimes they don't all get to their seats right away. Those that were here actually applauded with Stanton rounding the bases to the the giant tip of the cap from the fans to Stanton.
Rich, you got a tweet as the Dodgers make a pitching change, and you may have some insight on this. Again, it's I like just saying this. It's Sauce Castillo. I heard there's a video of Ichiro pitching in the Japanese League All-Star game. Would love to see it. Well, that's something maybe our crack staff could get involved in the investigation of that.
I've not heard of that video.
We'll have to ask Ichiro.
We'll have to ask him if he did pitch, and then if that's true, we'll send Amezaga's dad after the video. He's the one that found the Amezaga play. And the Dodgers have kept D. Gordon locked up these first two ball games. Gordon bounces that one to second. He's 0 for 4 in this game. He was 0 for 4 last night.
14, Martin Prado.
Yeah, we'll check with you. You watch Ichiro warm up, though. You reminded me of it. We were in San Francisco, I think, and he's out there, and he throws long distance, got a great arm, and then he'll kind of move a little bit closer and go into his windup. So he looks like he wants to pitch.
He also looks like he can pitch
Yeah.
with some success. Brian Morris in the bullpen. You saw the slow motion squirrel. That is our Exmo squirrel. That's from Colorado. Official mascot or unofficial mascot of the 10-run reel. If you're new to the 10-run reel, it's been a tradition for Marlins baseball. If it's a 10-run game, one way or the other, and it's late, we'll put on some of the fun stuff that we've seen, that we've captured in and around baseball over the last few years. And that squirrel, for whatever reason, that was, I think, the first year of Exmo. And
that was from Coors Field.
Yeah, aside from breaking balloons on our heads and hitting each other with Jell-O, that was one of the cool things that we saw initially. And so that squirrel's going to become the mascot. It's a very slow squirrel because he's obviously in Exmo. We actually found a very fast squirrel, and that was in a ballpark, and it was in San Diego. Remember the racing squirrel, the guy in a squirrel suit?
Get ready.
Yeah.
Get set.
He gives the guy a head start.
Yeah, like a half a field head start, and then wham, watch this guy go.
This guy's world class.
Wow, that squirrel can move. Look at him go.
It is the world's fastest squirrel.
There goes the squirrel, and he wins easily. Wow.
As it would turn out, Tommy, Baker lines it foul. I think the fans felt that was just some schmo in a squirrel outfit. Turns out this guy was actually a track athlete moonlighting as a squirrel. And
Which a lot of track athletes do.
after he won 2 or 3 races and made some money on those races, it was revealed he was a ringer.
Well, he was just getting steam, and the other poor guy was running out of steam.
Baker getting a chance to hit
Where,
here.
where was that? San Diego?
San Diego.
San Diego.
They it was so popular. They had it one night. It was so popular they brought him back numerous times, and he defeated all foes, furry or otherwise.
Robert, we thank you. R7V. He said he's hanging in there with us.
That's all you can ask. I mean, it's almost 1 a.m. back home, and the Marlins are taking it on the chin, so to speak. 11-1 the night after a gut-wrenching gut punch of a walk-off loss. And that came on top of the loss in San Francisco. And it's almost, you know, for the Marlins as a team, Marlin fans as well, the losses on this road trip, the late lead losses have kind of gone in descending order, right? I mean, the loss in Washington was a 2-run lead in the 8th.
That was a 4-run 8th inning by the Nationals.
That was really hard to take. Then you go to San Francisco, a chance to win a 4-game series, a 2-1 lead in the bottom of the 9th, and the Giants come back and walk off. That was really hard to take. And then last night, Christian Yelich hits that dramatic home run, and Scott Van Slyke answered with a 3-run shot. That was even tougher to take.
Well, that's what we talked about at the onset of the game. They're gut wrenching. They demoralize a team. It's hard. It's really hard to rebound from that.
And are we?
And I think we're seeing some effects tonight.
I was headed there. Are the residual effects? Is that what we're seeing?
Well, yes and no. I mean, if Dan Haren goes out and has great stuff and holds the Dodgers to a run, we're looking at a 1-1 game. So it's a little bit of both, but I think certainly we're seeing some of the effects of that.
Here's Marcell Ozuna. 2 outs in the 8th. 1 to Casio. Facing Ozuna, who is 0 for 3. Giancarlo Stanton with his 2 hits. The only Marlin with multiple hits And of course, one will show up on all the highlights tonight and tomorrow.
All right, we're getting help on Twitter. Brett tells us that he can confirm that Ichiro did in fact pitch in the 1996 Japanese All-Star game, found it on YouTube.
Really? Well, that's all our crack staff needs to know. Thank you. We'll try to convert that. One and two. Just about everything in baseball is wrapping up or has wrapped up. On the West Coast, you still have San Diego in Seattle. That game is in the bottom of the 7th. It's 9-3. The Angels of Los Angeles and Anaheim and Orange County have a 5-2 win now over the Rockies. That's a final. The Rockies go down 5-2 in Anaheim. And here the Dodgers 11-1. Ozuna off the end of the bat. And it rolls out to first. Van Slyke gets the out at first. To the bottom of the 8th, 10-run reel. Fun with a tarp. Hey, hey, hey. Be careful there. No grounds crew was injured in the filming of that stunt. Still a 10-run lead for the Dodgers over the Marlins. And you know what that means? Chad Qualls, ladies and gentlemen, making the 10-run reel. Fist pump and roll. Nobody saw me.
That still cracks me up.
And the next day, of course, the police tape Qualls' uniform. And then, what was it? It was a sniper. Got it. Brian Morris.
Chad Qualls still going strong with the Astros.
It's true. In a good spot with the Astros, who did lose their ball game today. Astros lost to the Giants 8-1. Brian Morris in now. And Andre Ethier, unbelievably, as another hit, lines it to left in the gap. Baker to cut it off. Andre Ethier is 5 for 5. A home run and 4 singles. MLB.TV Premium. #1 live streaming sports service. Celebrating 13 years. He got every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand in true HD. Watch at home, in the office, or on the go every night, on any device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Yeah, I understand. It's his third career 5-hit game. You would think all three of them have been against the Marlins, the way he's hit the Marlins.
Van Slyke. Dan Haren, Brad Hand, Nick Massey. And now Brian Morris.
Andre Ethier now has taken his career average to over 500. 77 for 199. Let me do that again.
Right, try that again.
It's late night.
It is late night. I think you forgot to carry one of the numbers in that equation.
All right.
I'm guessing 390.
387. All right, 387. He went from 371 to 387
in his career against the Marlins. Yeah, how many hits? 77?
77 for 199. I was trying to figure out where I went wrong that first time.
Well, Scott Van Slyke is having a nice series. He's got 3 hits in this ball game. He's got 6 hits overall. And a breaking ball is low to Kike Hernandez, his second at bat. He struck out his first time up. J.P. Howell. Anybody that needs work is getting it tonight.
About Jose Fernandez from Floyd. How much longer is it going to take Jose to come back? Well, we talk about this often. Everything has been on track for Jose. His throwing sessions, his batting practice. You hear the term, the ball is just coming out of his hand tremendously. There's no hard date. But we keep thinking end of June, early July.
Brian Morris, certainly one of the arms that Mike Redmond might choose as he mixes and matches and tries to close games by committee. I think across baseball there are pitchers who pitch in the 7th and the 8th inning who are accustomed to working at just an inning at a time. It's become very much like that. You look at last year's World Series, how Kansas City's bullpen was set up. The Giants have done a great job of this. In fact, the Giants have kind of had an interchangeable closer with Romo and Casilla in the last couple of years. Hernandez swings and misses and strikes out for the second time. That for a guy like Morris, a guy like Ramos, or a guy like Dyson, or even Dunn, in the back of their mind, as soon as they got in that 7th or 8th inning role, naturally they thought about, all right, what would it be like to close games? Some of them have been able to do it in the minor leagues, and that's how closers are made. You rarely just take a closer and say, this guy's going to close, and that guy not have any experience pitching in the big leagues in the 7th or the 8th inning. It's usually an apprenticeship you have to serve.
Yeah, and it's a trend that I don't like. You know, I like to see pitchers It's not done, but you'd like to see pitchers throw more, learn how to pitch a little bit more. Maybe middle relief, maybe start some games. And then their role maybe changes when they get to the big leagues. Then they're not just a guy who can only throw 1 inning. I think it's tough to manage nowadays when you have a bullpen with 3 or 4 guys who can only throw an inning.
Unless you have unless you've got Kansas City's bullpen and the 3 guys that you have for the 7th, 8th, and 9th are all lights out.
Or if you have a team that has 3 or 4 starters that'll go 7 or 8 innings.
Amen. It removes the necessity of having 3 of those guys. 21 hits tonight for the Dodgers. Mark McGwire's got to feel pretty good about his hitters. He's got a pretty good hitter as a manager to lean on. Jock Peterson swings and misses. You know how, and for a guy like Peterson who's 23, he gets to the big leagues, Tommy. His hitting coach is Mark McGwire. His manager is Don Mattingly. If you need any more resources as a young hitter, I don't know where you're going to find it.
Got some base running questions. You can defer to Davey Lopes.
Not Sean Connery, but Davey Lopes and Lorenzo Bundy. How many people stop Sean Connery in the airport and say, "Aren't you Davey Lopes?"
No, I think Sean Connery's getting too old for that now.
Do you think you could get Davey Lopes to say Trebek?
We could get him to say that. Talking to Davey today about D. Gordon. He felt that it was a good move for D. Gordon to come to Miami. He thought he would do well here. Not that he didn't want him in L.A.
Morse has it and gets the out at first. Not an easy pickup. Michael Morse has continued to play well with the glove at first.
But the other 2 things that Davey Lopes referred to, he said, and he has a couple of great guys to work with, meaning Brett Butler and Perry Hill. Good pick by the big guy at first base.
Jimmy Rollins. Rollins has 2 hits. So if you're scoring at home, the Dodgers have a ton of hits. We showed you 21, most in baseball this year by a team during a game. Howie Kendrick has 4. Alex Guerrero has 2. Andre Ethier, way down in the 7th spot, has 5. Scott Van Slyke has 3. An odd start time tomorrow. A lot more odd out here on the West Coast than back home. It's a 4:50 local start.
It's actually a very convenient prime time start back home. Rich, we'll be prime time tomorrow.
7:50.
No more of this late night stuff. We'll be prime time.
We'll also be early morning on Thursday.
Well, that'll be our arrival.
Prado. Nice play by Martin Prado. Nicely done. Not an easy play, and he makes it despite the Marlins being down 11-1. Little presidential hijinks. Ow, that's got to hurt, even for a guy with a big head. by Kaiser University. For more information, go to kaiser.edu. Late night with the Fish from Los Angeles. 11-1 Dodgers. We appreciate those that have hung around with us. We've had a few treats for the kids. The 10-run reel. We have taken some requests, and Max wants to know, can you show the A.J. Burnett hitting Billy's truck during warm-ups? Remember, this is the anniversary of A.J.'s no-hitter, so there you go. Oh, let's see that again. Oh, there was no intent. I like how Mike Redmond, who was catching, really sold it.
He's a catcher.
And then looked like, huh, what? There was some money that changed hands. Allegedly. Cryptically. J.P. Howell for the Dodgers. Jonathan Solano up. And Jonathan takes a strike. So the Marlins will try to salvage a game from this 3-game set. And they're hopeful that Jared Kozart can get back on the mound and get back on track. Howell has it, drops it, picks it up, throws it, and gets Solano.
The Dodgers have played a good all-around game tonight. They've made nice defensive plays. Howell has it, loses it, doesn't panic, gets the out.
Michael Morse with the count 0-1. By the way, we have located the Ichiro video of him pitching in the Japanese All-Star game. Thank you for sending us the link. And so we'll effort to get that on the show, if not tomorrow, maybe on the homestand.
I think what we need to do, you and I, we need to find out the rest of the story.
The circumstances behind it. That's going to take a couple days. So look for it this weekend. Maybe on Marlins Live. Count 2-1. Who would be the Marlins emergency pitcher? If I were sending tweets in right now,
could be Ichiro.
I would send that in.
Yeah.
Morris, little dribbler. Guerrero gets the out. One of 2 outs here in the 9th inning. Because certainly Ichiro used to bug Lou Piniella all the time to pitch. And at that point, Seattle had laid out so much money for him and were paying him a lot as well. They didn't want to jeopardize that. You don't want to be the manager to injure the star player pitching, right?
I would think at this stage of his career, if the time came, then go for it.
Real Muto out to right. Ethier has it. A big night for the Dodgers. Giancarlo Stanton started the night with a mammoth home run, and after that, it was all Dodgers. And Randy Newman will send the Dodgers and their fans home happy. Time now for the H.H. Gray high-def highlights. This was the blast. Stand to left, it hits the very top of the roof, kicks left, and exits beyond. And Dodgers PR informing that goes as hitting it out of Dodger Stadium. 5-hit night for Andre Ethier. The Dodgers bang out 21 hits. Marlins Live is coming up.